And for the 13th straight year, we've had a different pole sitter here. It's Juan Pablo Montoya. Of course, he won the 2000 Indianapolis 500. Can he become the first to win that race and the Brickyard 400? Well, we'll find out in about 160 laps. The grid comes across the top of your screen. We will point out 2 cars going to the rear. The 20 of Joey Logano and the 64 of Todd Bodine. Both of those 4 engine changes. All right, let's get the latest updates from pit road before we go green. Vince Welch, you're up.
Well, Marty, Jeff Gordon cut his racing teeth here in Indiana. Today, he goes for a 5th Brickyard 400 victory. It's also a special homecoming event for a couple of other native Hoosiers, Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman. Their teammates. Stewart has won here twice before, and his crew chief Darian Grubb told me this morning they believe they have a car that can be a player here today, potentially getting a 3rd win. For Ryan Newman, he hasn't had much success here, and his season has been filled with as much bad break as good break. The 39 team needs something to turn its season around, and there would be no better place for that something to happen here today at Indy. Jamie?
Well, one driver to watch today is the 51-year-old Mark Martin. Not only is this one of his best racetracks, but he comes here with a vengeance. After the last race in Chicago, he had an on-track altercation with Juan Pablo Montoya. He got out of his race car and said, "I haven't been that mad since 1994. You put that on top of the fact he wants to prove to the world this race team is better than where they are in the stats. He's desperately looking for that first win of the year. This could be the day and the track to get it done. Doc?
Well, Jamie, it has already been a very busy weekend for Kyle Busch, who is running his 3rd race in as many days. Now, Friday night, he finished 2nd in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Race. Last night, over at Raleigh Raceway Park, in spite of not having any practice, he held off a late charge by Carl Edwards to pick up his 8th NASCAR Nationwide Series win of the year. Now, the bad news. Yesterday, here in final happy hour practice, his Cup car was only 26th fastest, prompting the crew to totally change the setup, something they had earlier in the weekend, which means Kyle could have his hands full early on. He starts 23rd here today.
Doc, I'm up here with the crew for Kevin Harvick as they watch the field go by. Yesterday during the hot practice sessions, they received a radio transmission from Kevin. Kevin said, and I quote, "You made it a tremendous amount better." And the same can be said for their 2010 season versus last year. Last year coming into this race, no wins, 25th in points. This year, 2 wins, 103 championship points ahead of everybody else. Performance like that can give you confidence at the Brickyard and maybe take you on your way out of here to the championship. Marty?
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's set the analysis of what we're going to unfold before you. We have a distance of 400 miles that'll turn into 160 laps. Our pit road speed will be 55 miles an hour, and I guarantee you Juan Pablo Montoya will not get caught speeding this year. Let's talk about that pit window.
Yeah, it's around 30 to 35 laps, and that's a pretty big window, but we do hear some of the teams that, you know, kind of tune their engines for power, some for mileage.
Yeah, and that 9 degrees of banking in the corners is one of the things that makes this place so difficult. Nothing to lean on there. Drivers have to work extremely hard throughout this day.
On the backstretch of the final pace lap, let's listen in on Jimmy Johnson's radio.
All right, fellas, just like what we spoke about, nice smooth day today. All we got to do is do our jobs right, and I think we're going to have a fantastic day. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're on board with Jimmy. He'll start on the outside of the front row. Chad Knaus on the box calling all the shots. Who wins this thing today, this 17th running of the Brickyard 400? Juan Pablo Montoya? Does he give Chip Ganassi the trifecta? Or does Jeff Gordon become the first man ever to win 5 times on the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? We'll find out over the course of the next 160 laps.
Hey, Dale, how much are you willing to hang it out here to try to lead this first lap? How important is it?
That's not that important to me. That lap 160 is one that's most important. This is very treacherous going into this first corner. You have to be extremely careful.
Crowd is coming to its feet. The Chevrolet Corvette pace car will be pulling down pit road, making that left turn right there. And here comes Juan Pablo Montoya and Jimmy Johnson and the 17th Brickyard 400 at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Dallas Clark of the Indianapolis Colts on the tower, waves the green flag, and we are green. Well, Jeff Gordon get a little close to the wall in turn 2. Juan Pablo Montoya trouble already down in turn 2. Sam Hornish has turned around. The 18 of Kyle Busch is going around. Hornish still in the middle of the racetrack. Look out. That was close.
Looks like Kyle Busch got by without much damage, but you see Hornish has damage, and also looks like Reed Sorensen.
Definitely Reed Sorensen in it. There is Sam as he has turned around. The 2006 Indy 500 winner. Also the winner just a couple of weeks ago, David Rudiman.
We had a big amount of rain last night.
Left side tires up, David.
This track was very green when this race started.
Yeah, that outside groove is always very slick to start this race. And as you pointed out, Andy, with no rubber there whatsoever, the whole racetrack's going to have a lot of slickness to it.
In fact, so much rain that NASCAR calls for a mandatory caution at lap 15.
Looks like Elliott Sadler going down there, too, might have had some damage.
You see just a little damage on the left front fender from Kyle Busch's car there, but man, Reed Sorensen's car is destroyed.
Todd Bodine also in it. Here we go.
Looks like Kyle's one sideways.
Yeah, looked like Kyle got sideways and into Hornish. There's 0 into Elliott Sadler's 19.
Yeah, and then you see Reed, and that's where he gets all his damage. He kind of KOs the wall, and then Elliott Sadler. Looks like Bobby Labonte got into it. See a splitter laid on the track, maybe Sadler.
Another angle from down lower. Boy, Hornish, it's amazing he didn't get tagged again. I mean, he was still in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, but I think he got into the wall right there with the right rear of his car. That's a significant amount of damage for him. These two things kind of happened at the same time right there. I'm not sure that the two of those contacted the 18 and the 77 to start this.
Almost looks like two separate spins.
Yeah.
But, you have to almost think they're related here.
Well, let's get an update from pit road. What are you hearing, Doc?
Well, it looks to be minimal damage on the left front for Kyle Busch. They couldn't really see coming around. They had the spotter looking, and Kyle was asking about it. They're going to put some Bear Bond on an area that's been needs a patch there on the left front. They fixed the grill as they are trying to get what they figure was very, very minimal damage now on the Toyota of Kyle Busch. Vince.
Well, the 77 of Sam Hornish did sustain damage on the left rear quarter panel, but most of the damage, the heaviest damage, is in the rear of the car and around the right side on the rear. So the team over the wall, obviously, and working feverishly on the back end of that car. And as I believe DJ indicated, the heaviest damage on the right rear quarter panel. Also, the 47 of Marcus Ambrose came in to clean the grill and the splitter to head back out. A lot of cars had a little contact in that melee.
So already several teams' hopes have been dashed as far as their chances of potentially winning this 17th running of the Brickyard 400. As you see Elliott Sadler's crew sprinting back towards the garage area. The 18 of Kyle Busch going back out onto the racetrack. So stay with us. We're under our first caution here at Indy.